Jason Voorhees, that supernatural undead killing machine that we all know and love. But it wasn't always that way. Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives changed the franchise forever. And I don't mean Jason prancing around the forest with his Batman utility belt. So why did the sixth entry in the franchise matter so much? First, let's talk about the comedic tone. This film starts off with an homage to Frankenstein, with Jason being struck by lightning and resurrected. And one of the things that people remember the most, the James Bond opening. So that already tells you you're in for something different. And the kills in this film are awesome, but they are totally different than anything we've seen. Jason kills a woman in standing water, offering him money, and when she dies, the American Express card floats just like the commercial. One of the first men he kills in the film, he just flings him behind his head like a basketball. Then he grabs a guy's face and slams it in a tree, and this is 1986, but we get to see a bloody smiley emoji. He also grabs a girl, pulls her out of a window, and their slippers are on the ground. The big RV scene that everyone remembers where he grabs the girl's face, he puts it through a mirror and the wall. Meanwhile, the whole time her boyfriend is just thinking that she's having fun without him in the bathroom, because I guess that's what women do, right? The film was self-aware, even toward the climax. It has a couple kids who are just talking about how they're gonna die, and one of them looks at the other and says, "So what were you gonna be when you grew up?" Jason Lives proved that you could have a Friday the 13th film, but just put a little bit of comedy and camp into it, and it will work just fine. And future entries afterwards would go back to a more serious tone, but then you would get something like Jason X, which would borrow elements from this film and stick comedy right back in, and nobody batted an eye. It marked a severe tonal shift for the entire franchise, but it was very welcomed by most fans. Now let's talk about the supernatural undead Jason, or what I like to call default Jason. If you're a casual fan, or casual fans in general, they might just think that Jason has always been undead. But that wasn't always true. In the previous 5 films, he was only actually in 3, and he looks, for lack of a better term, human. He may have had some disfigurement, but for all we knew, this was just a mortal guy stalking campers in the woods. We didn't really know one way or another whether there was some supernatural stuff or not. But then we get Jason Lives, and there is no debate. Right in the beginning, when they open the casket up, he is worm food. Getting struck by lightning, brought back to life, and then his actions completely change. No longer does Jason run and chase people, he just casually walks. Jason also appears to have enhanced strength. We have one scene where we see the machete and the camera pans out and it's actually this guy's arm that Jason has ripped off out of his body. And he clearly didn't do it on purpose. This speaks to how Jason should have gotten an Academy Award for somebody who has no face and no expression. He still was able to look at that arm like he was either surprised he did that or he had no idea he was that strong. Then we have all the scenes with the cops. He gets shot repeatedly and just keeps coming. The sheriff shoots him with a shotgun. Jason goes on the ground. He just keeps shooting him and he keeps sitting up. All it's doing is slowing him down. It's like it doesn't even faze him. Then later, the sheriff attacks him, hits him with a baseball bat. He hits him with rocks. And this just doesn't do anything to him. Earlier, Jason could be slowed down for a considerable amount of time versus undead Jason cannot. And since the 6th entry, Jason has been undead for the majority of the films outside of the reboot. So when people think about it, they just think zombie Jason. Even in the most recent short film, Sweet Revenge. So at bare minimum, Jason Lives redefined the character. Now let's talk about character versatility. Now normally when I talk about versatile characters, I bring up Batman as my go-to. Because you can have the super campy Adam West Batman, or you can have the Robert Pattinson super dark and dreary Batman. But basically, you shift the character to whatever setting you need to. In Jason's case, though, it's different. Jason doesn't really change in this film. Jason just does what he always does. He chases people down and he kills them. But what this film proved was you can shift the tone around him and you don't have to do anything to Jason. He just continues to do his thing and it works. So it doesn't matter if you put Jason in the woods, Jason in Manhattan, Jason in space. Regardless, what people are there for is to see Jason do his thing. The sixth entry also proved that you don't even need all the elements. This is a film that has no nudity. That's right, no boobies. But you know what? It didn't even matter. People still love this film anyway. And even in the most recent short film, Sweet Revenge, that film is basically 13 minutes long and it takes out all the elements. There's no character development, there's no nudity. It's just Jason doing this thing and chasing somebody down to a lake. So the film Jason Lives proved that no matter what tone that you put the character in, what setting it is, Jason is what draws the people to the film. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would submit to you that Friday the 13th Part 6 changed the franchise forever. This film was more profitable than the next two films in Jason X. Jason Lives is one of the highest ranked entries in the franchise. Number 1 by Bloody Disgusting, number 2 by Rotten Tomatoes, always in the top 5 in most fan polls. So I am not arguing that this is the greatest Friday the 13th of all time. But what I am arguing is it's a fan favorite, and as we just passed its 40th year anniversary, is that it irreversibly changed the franchise and made its mark on the character of Jason Voorhees. And here's a question I would pose to you, the audience. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that Friday the 13th should have stuck with this campy, funny tone? So, with that being said, thank you for watching The Derek Ruby Show, and I'll see you guys next time.